Cool. So we're going to do another medieval combat video review. This is SCA combat between Sir Baird on the left, who's here for the view,
Woo!
and Sir Ulfr on the right. I believe we leave the R silent. It's just Sir Ulf,
Yeah,
right?
this is Ulf.
Sir.
Ulfr. Ulfr. I'm Avery, and then also here we have
Bjorn Zenfir.
who was at this event, I believe, if I'm not
I
mistaken, right?
was, yes. And him and I fought, maybe one or two other fights after this one.
You and Ulf.
Yes.
Okay.
Off. Yeah, I need to get the video from him as well, so I could check that out as well.
Gotcha. So this is basically pickups for the purposes of training, right?
Yes.
So just for us to have the context, in this case, are you fighting your hardest to win? Are you working on anything in particular? Like, is this a training exercise, or are these pretty serious fights for you?
Just training. New shield, and just trying to see what I can do with the shield.
And you're the one on the left.
I'm the one on the left. It's a 24 by 24 inch, or 2 feet by 2 feet square, and I've changed my shield since then, and I'm going to change it again. So this is prototype 1 out of pretty soon prototype 3. I'll have a third iteration of this exact same shield. It will be a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, a little bit less wide than this version.
And you guys are both Knights of Caid, so you know a lot of the guys who are known for fighting with square shields are Western Knights. They tend to be arm strapped, not center grip.
They are, and a lot of this is out in the West, and there was a lot of conversation, a lot of people looking at my shield, seeing how it was strapped. And I'm like, it's not strapped at all. And
it's just a handle.
That is weird. You know, you thought it was weird, but really, the thing is I'm trying to find a shield style where I can actually watch my opponent while he's throwing, and still block.
So are you fighting, just as another little bit, quick bit of setup, I mean, Ulf's obviously got a center grip teardrop. You know, that is a bit of a more passive style. Are you fighting with that like it's a buckler, or are you fighting with it like it's an arm strap? What's your mentality when you're trying this new shield out?
It's kind of a mix between my heater, my oval, and my buckler styles. I kind of rotate between the three because I don't know exactly what I want to do with it. So sometimes I'll put it on my shoulder like a heater or like my oval. Sometimes I'll put it out like my buckler, and I'm trying to figure out as we go.
Just sort of experimenting with it. All right, well, let's watch a few passes and let us know when you want to stop, and we'll take a look at something a little more closely. Oh, we'll there. Yeah, the love is gone.
Love is gone.
So this SCA combat, one hard blow to the head or body for a kill, blow to the arm or leg disables it, and because this is training, you know, people aren't necessarily falling over. Also, knee down is not a target, and hands are not a target. Traded leg shots there.
That was pretty.
Oh, nice slot. Do you want to go back over that one in slow-mo?
Sure.
Okay, so we're just rewinding a little bit too far, as it turns out.
Pretty happy with how I was blocking on that, actually. Ulfr, Ulf.
Ulfr.
Ulfr.
Oh, you're not going to be able to get rid of it now.
Thanks, Avery. He's an awesome fighter.
He's really dynamic with his body position.
Yes.
I've noticed he can throw from almost any body position as well. I like that you blocked with the back edge of the shield there.
Actually, the reason I started with this kind of shield is to get those kind of blocks.
To get that perpendicular block with the back edge?
I think the last time we did this, Helgi was talking about how to block, and I took up the shield style just to try to get those kind of blocks.
Because our last medieval combat video review was so good, you had to get a new shield.
That's right. Actually, we had talked about it before, but because of our conversation and the medieval combat review, conversation. I wanted to get a more solid block on all sides.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was pretty far on the tip, but I think you guys are being nice to each other and you took those.
I have no idea what that was.
Oh my god.
So I think Ulf was taking the shot before that one, but basically you guys, you're still warming up. It's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
but you come in, he throws the wrap to your body as now, and I think you're pretty exposed here. He reads that pretty easily, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to capture his sword here and try to feel it as it goes around,
but he can
obviously
easily whip his
he's
hand
gonna go
over it.
around.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, you're smart and you take the kneeling step this direction to get around behind him and away from his sword a bit. You still take the shot to the body, right around here. And meanwhile, you chase him. If he had lifted that shield up, I'm not quite sure why he didn't. I think so. Here he's protected because he's got the sword guard and the shield guard on that left side of his body. He moves his sword out of the way, doesn't lift his shield, and you guys double.
Yeah.
All right, so next pass. Oops. I recommend attacking that direction.
He killed me. Just to let you know.
Okay, there was a death.
I went for a thrust, he hit me in the head. Bad trick.
That's an interesting wrap there. If we go back a little ways. So, to me it looks like you're concerned about the height of your shield because you're ducking pretty low.
Yes.
But you pick up the block, and then here you can tell he's about to start wheeling back, so you vault off the back foot and in, right? Now you're extending with a shield to guard against that sword shot, and he's sort of waiting to see what comes. Going for the face thrust. I really like the way you move with your sword coming up and angling over the edge of his shield. So it starts here, and as we watch when the thrust is done, it's there. Right, so you've really done a big change to chase that shield up. Now, he lifts the shield far enough to block it, but look at how far he has to move, opening all of this. Unfortunately, your thrust is a little difficult to recover from, so you can't take that leg. But you look at the difference in the angle you've created between when you started the thrust and when you ended the thrust, and that's exactly what I want to do every time. You do that by rolling the arm, the wrist, even the shoulders rolled a little bit.
Also, step. You have to step when you thrust. He's going on his back heels trying to recover from that thrust. It gives me the momentum of the fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
But then he settles. See how he settles down? And he hits me there.
And I think that's just a matter of, you've had that shield up there for a long time, you probably feel the leg is vulnerable, you don't know what's going on necessarily, because that shield's been up there a long time. And with your sword in that position, it's going to be tough. I don't know quite what you do.
I'm trying to bring my sword back to block a little bit, but yeah, I'm not in time, so yeah, that's it. He says I got him there with the thrust, or it came over the top or whatever, but he had his shield there, so it's just discussion. Yeah, what are you doing back there,
I'm
Bjorn?
warming up, man.
What are you doing? Let's go back and watch
All right.
this.
I am stretching out. I'm doing that old man torso twist. Old man torso twist. I just want to get in the video.
I'd just like to point out, let's focus on the important part.
I saw the video, so I had to get into it. I was like,
What are you doing, Bjorn?
That torso
Gotta
twist.
get in there.
Yeah,
Gotta get in there.
Shut up.
What's up?
Get out of the way, Ulf.
Best,
Thank you.
best use of $5 ever.
So tell us what you're thinking at this moment, Bjorn. Move your shield, please.
Oh, Thank you. I'm gonna move just. Right in. Gonna watch this bad boy the whole time. Oh God!
I love how you photobomb this video like a cat. Just like, you see those videos of someone doing like yoga, and the cat just plops down in front of the camera and starts licking its butthole.
Just looking at it, dude. I ain't moving.
You're the only one.
I'm trying to take a page out of Baird's book, man. I'm going out there. I'm waiting.
There goes Sven.
It's so good. Oh, I heard I laughed so hard.
Just right in the. There we go. Company.
It looked to me almost like you might have got. I mean, I'm sure you felt that on the leg, but that shot you took, it looks like you were very close to having it blocked. You did
how high I went to try to
chase the sword.
yeah trace the sword.
You can tell
I'm
it.
so picking open.
Yeah. Wait, I can tell you're used to a taller shield, right? Like that would protect you better. But he chases it down.
It was really kind of a mixture between buckler and you know how you try to chase it with the buckler and try to trap it.
But with a larger shield, you're trying to be a little. So
With
you're
the larger
stuck in
shield,
between.
I would be like closer because I would, but it was kind of in between. I'm trying all these different styles in my head, going, what will work best against Ulf, who is awesome.
Yeah, and so you're kind of stuck between buckler. And it turns out what sounded like you blocking was him hitting you in the leg really hard.
Yeah, he hit me well. But I didn't get a bruise, so obviously, you know.
I'm telling you, man, that leg's dead.
Just
It's
gonna,
dead to the world.
you're gonna fall off. And also, let's go back a little bit. There's one other really important detail.
Nobody wants to give Sven crap for his torso twist, but everybody wants to make fun of my torso twist. That's cool.
Let's watch this. Let's get this in slow motion.
Oh,
Get that dad bod out there.
Yeah.
Did you already do that earlier?
Excuse me, Elf. Could you just step to the left or the right for a minute? We're having trouble seeing Bjorn here.
I've been there for too long. I got cold, alright?
Nice.
Hijacking your video, bro.
I like the way you're leaning back to get the angle on that. I also like the way you've rotated yourself into the sun so it makes him unchivalrous. Oh, no, you've rotated away from the sun. Never mind.
No, I use my knees to try to get around him.
Yeah.
And my opponents have been accused of twisting me.
Because you're moving.
It is not true at all. And I have defended people fighting me all the time because it's not their fault.
Yeah.
I'm moving around them all the time, trying to get around their defense.
Because we both use our knees as if
Yeah,
they're, as
and
if they're
that
feet,
is not-
So, yeah.
That's not. What is
They're
it
not
called?
corkscrewing.
Corkscrew.
Yeah.
So that's an SCA thing that I think came out in the 70s when someone realized they could stay out of range and just walk circles around their opponent until their opponent was really tired for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Shoot.
And then step into range. And that was considered reasonably unchivalrous.
It is unchivalrous.
Now we've become very sort of stringent about the way we treat it. So what you're saying is like, nobody misinterpret this. Ulf didn't corkscrew me. I moved,
not
yeah.
at all. I am totally trying to move around Ulf all the time using my knees as my feet.
Now what Ulf did here is something I do all the time, and in Caid, actually, so this is an interesting inter-kingdom thing. He's got a thrusting tip on his sword, which is a little bit of foam padding on the end that allows you to stab, by the rules. And anywhere in the SCA, if you don't have a thrusting tip, you're not allowed to even fake stabbing. And this is one of the shots I throw quite frequently, especially against someone who's legged. He does a thrust into the shield to table it and immobilize it into a rotating moulinet snap.
Yeah.
So it looks to me like he thrusts down there and then does one of those into the head.
Yeah. He's really good at that.
And I tend to use that a lot. However, in Caid, if you don't have a thrusting tip, the general interpretation, and the letter of the law is the same everywhere, but the interpretation varies from place to place. In Caid, if you stab someone in the middle of a shield without a thrusting tip, that's faking a thrust. Whereas in other kingdoms, if you have a sword with no thrusting tip, you stab someone in the shield with it, that's fine. because it was their shield.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a move that most people in Caid would say is only allowed if you have a thrusting tip. So he stabs the shield, rotates it, and then the hand comes up, twists, and over the top of the shield.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a,
The basket hilt just
I am
goes over the top of
trying
the
my
shield.
hardest
too.
to block that son of a gun, too.
Yeah.
You see my shield
it goes
going
way up.
up, trying to get it. He just gets, his basket hilt gets over
It
the
gets-
shield.
And once the basket hilt's
Once
over
the
the
basket
shield, it
hilt
doesn't
is
matter.
over,
Yeah.
basket hilt is over the shield, it's too late.
Well, and he knows it's a center grip shield, so you don't have a lot of strength to stop it from rotating, right? That's one of the disadvantages of a center grip.
And he gets around, see how his basket hilt is on the other side of the shield, and that's it.
And if you look, he gets extra height from his body as he steps up, right? I mean, honestly, if I was 7 feet tall, I would probably do that to normal-sized people all the time.
He's not 7 foot, but he's
But
tall.
if you were
He is
standing,
comparatively-
it's like he's 7
Yeah,
feet tall,
he's
though, right?
comparatively right
Yeah,
now.
okay. He is a tall guy.
Yeah.
It works really, really
and I'm
well.
a short guy, but when I'm on my knees, I'm a lot shorter.
This is
Yeah.
like when you fight. This is like when I fight a Thonric when I'm normally standing and he's normally standing.
I almost look the same height in this video, which is...
No, you don't.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to drag out them couple of shots. I'm basically
You
the same.
could have
Basically,
You could have.
I'm basically the same height. Let's draw an arrow. Draw a line. See? I'm basically the same
Yeah,
height.
pretty much.
Basically.
She's just gonna start upping it. I'm basically the same height as Oz.
Yeah,
Basically.
As far as I'm concerned, that's the same thing.
Okay.
Plus, you're closer to the camera. That makes you shorter.
All right.
All right.
All right. I am a lot shorter than everybody else.
No. You could have been Ethelred Cloudbreaker. I would have cracked that joke. Oops.
Talk, talk, talk.
So he's threatening the thrust there. So you disengage, right? Now you've got a different guard that makes that thrust not really a threat. And because the SCA is an honor system, especially in like practice fights, you're always checking in with each other to make sure you're doing the right thing. That looks like you could have landed that arm shot if you put more power on it. I know you're probably not going for an arm shot because a lot of people in a lot of places.
Yeah, I was going for kind of a slot helm.
So here you get the wind up.
I'm trying to get into his... See how he's about to swing out?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is...
He does that
offside.
overhead teardrop, right? So it looks to me like you had like if you threw a little bit more English into it, rotating either hip forward, you could have hit the arm hard enough for it to count.
Yeah.
It also looks like, I mean, it might be that you're just one of those
I'm
guys
just
who's
going
not
for
trying to
the
hit
helm.
people in the arm.
Yeah, I'm just going for the helm. I'm waiting for his his arm to float back, and so I can hit the helm. And he got the shield on it, so got some shield on it. But I tried to get that slot there,
Yeah.
and it
Close.
just was not good.
I think it caught his basket.
Well,
Well, look at my feet. I'm shifting back because I'm trying to protect myself, and by shifting back, I am not using any of my momentum forward to get any kind of straight shot down. So look at this. I'm moving backwards.
Yeah, you're moving away from the shot as you throw it.
Just what I
did a
did.
me.
I did
Yeah,
a
you did a
Bjorn.
me. You did a Bjorn.
Now, what if in this case, this is a different way of throwing the shot? I'm wondering what you could do. Say you're in this position and you see a shield coming, because the reason why he moves his shield is he's expecting the wrap here, back edge of your sword to the back of his leg. That's what he's reading, which is why he's dropping the shield, right? Presumably.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so as we move forward, we see a shield go into a position that would block against that wrap, right? Right there. What you're seeing is that opens the slot shot to throw into this gap that's going to appear here. So you want to throw a vertical shot where it's short enough it's not going to hit the blade of his sword. So you need to also, basically you're aiming at a slot in here, right?
Yeah.
This is the sweet spot you're looking for, right? I'm going to take all this off the screen. So to get that shot, you're stepping back with your weight
am.
over your right foot
It's just
to protect your side, but what if instead of the mechanic you use right here, I'll go forward and then back again. The mechanic you use is sort of you punch the basket hilt forward and you're sort of shifting. It's almost like a step back jab.
Yeah.
In boxing or whatever. I don't know if you'd call it that because I'm not a boxer. What if instead, from here, imagine you take the pommel of your sword and rotate and yank the pommel down and away. So instead of pushing the hand forward, you yank the hand down and create a rotational whip with the sword.
I would question whether or not the sword would actually get deep enough to strike, but see how deep it is already?
Yeah.
It probably got too deep and it didn't have enough power. So maybe if you did sweep it through, it would get the sweet spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
tough shot to throw from.
I don't know if you've noticed, but your sword's already broken, buddy. Look at the angle on that. Right where
don't point that out, okay?
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
Practice sword.
Okay, the next fight after this, my sword broke.
I think your sword broke, but somewhere early in the first couple passes here. Because if you look at your sword is already like it's already cracked off.
How did I get him?
I don't know.
He said, yeah. I don't know where I got him.
So he throws here, and here you do a great job bobbling the shield up so he gets no recovery, right? And then you're looking for an opening.
He gets a block.
He steps in, sword high.
I'm trying to capture his sword.
Right there. Looks like you throw into his body there.
Yeah, that one goes down.
Did
Goes
it go
right
down?
between your two shields.
Okay.
Right there. And he's got that big solid breastplate, so he probably doesn't notice it right away, because it's a big solid piece of metal.
And I get that block.
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Oh yeah, you got me in the body."
Like right in the body. You come right down between the two of them, and
so
it's one of my favorite shots when people come in, but I just didn't see it there.
Yeah,
and my sword being broken,
Just saying, man, it's already broken.
That's awesome.
Oh, this is where your arm breaks. So is this the end of the video here?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so funny because he's hold on, and I look behind myself like, what's going on?
Zoom in on that.
What's going on? We're still fighting here, aren't we?
A little double whammy in here. No!
We're just gonna let this. Oh, and a thumb too. I like reviewing practice footage more. We get to laugh more. That is a big thumb.
Hey,